All right. So we're going to have a look at this video. This was shared to me by M Pause. I think his name is on the Discord. How you going, man? Shout out to him. Just wanted to know my opinion on Darryl Tsung's latest video titled, I got to be honest about the upcoming release of Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection. I hope I'm wrong. Let's have a look.
All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for clicking on the video. It is Sunday evening around 9 o'clock. And it is about, 4 days until the release of the Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection. Now, myself personally, I am very, very excited for this collection. I know a lot of us in the Mortal Kombat community are excited. I know a lot of old school gamers who used to love Mortal Kombat and have kind of fallen off the wagon there for many, many years, are excited to come back in and start playing these old school Mortal Kombat games again, and I think it's a great thing that they're releasing this. I do have an opinion about this though, and I've had it for the last month or so. I haven't said a lot about it. I'm usually a pretty positive person, and I don't want to put a negative spin on any of this. I know everybody's excited and such, but I want to say a few things in regards to this collection, and in regards to what I feel is going to happen because this collection is being released. So after the last month or so too, finding out everything that's going to be included and such, you know, hardcore old school Mortal Kombat fans are super excited. And like I said, others that, have played it over the years but have kind of fallen off. It's been 15, 20 years since they played any of them. You know, they're coming back and they're excited to see this collection come out and play these games again, all in one package. So how can that be a bad thing at all? So over the last couple of years, I've really started playing these old versions of Mortal Kombat again. Mortal Kombat 2 is my favorite. It started with the Mortal Kombat 2 arcade 1-up cab, actually, where I started playing more. And it's been because of this channel. Now, I've played a lot just on my own over the years, the Mortal Kombat arcade collection on the PlayStation 3 and such. And I enjoy playing these games on my own, so I've never had a problem just sitting and playing the single player and such. So when
It's good to hear that, because like a lot of people think that the end game for fighting games is online, right? But we didn't have online, right? And outside of X-Band for the guys over in the US, over here we never had online. The closest we got to multiplayer was in the arcade or with our mates. But 98% of the time, if not more than that, we were just sitting there playing these games by ourselves, learning different things, loading up player 2, trying out different possible combinations of special moves and attacks. And that was pretty cool. I mean, that's something I've talked about in recent times, where I honestly, tapping back into what made MK great for me is that offline experience. I got nothing to prove. I don't care about fighting people online in the sense of, trying to be like I'm this wonderful sage at fighting online in Mortal Kombat. I don't care about that. I really don't. Right. But tapping back into that love of MK, and what it means for each and every one is far more important, I think, especially with the old stuff.
The Legacy Collection was announced, I was like, this is going to be amazing. Everything's going to be, all in one. We're going to get so many people playing again. It's going to be on the next-gen systems and such. This is awesome. This is the complete package. But it made me think of something. I'm going to give you an illustration right now, an example. So have you ever played a RetroPie, for instance, or one of those little handheld machines with 15,000 games included and such? Well, I purchased a RetroPie for about $100 or whatever, the RetroPie 4, I believe it was. And when I first got it, 20,000 games. I didn't even hesitate to buy it. I didn't know this thing existed, and I was at work, and my friend was talking about it to another coworker. I overheard, and I was like, wait, what are you talking about? And he told me, it's just a little RetroPie. You plug it into your TV. You got all these games, hundreds, thousands of games. And I was like, that's amazing. I didn't even hesitate. I bought it right on the spot. It was delivered. I hooked it up, and it was great. I had fun with this little machine for about 3 or 4 hours. when I first purchased it. Jumping through games, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Genesis, Game Gear, all of my favorite systems. The Neo Geo, MAME, like it was awesome. But the thing is it was a complete overload of games, right? Like games that I remembered playing in the past, like The Legend of Zelda, you know, Final Fantasy, the Street Fighter games, the Mario games, all of that. And I think part of the appeal when playing these nostalgic games is, you know, it's the memories that they bring back and such. And it took myself, you know, being 46 years old now, to a simpler time in life. Now the thing is, though, our brains, we are so spoiled with electronics and hardware now. Everything is available so quickly in the palm of your hand. Everything is available so quickly on your TVs and your computers and everything. Like our minds are just, it's sensory overload. So, truth be told, I ended up playing this thing a little bit here, a little bit there, you know. I'd be playing a game and I'd be like a half hour into it or whatever, and I'd be like, you know what, I want to try something else. I'd start playing that and I'd be like, you know what, I want to try something else. I want to try something else. The next thing you know, you're done trying everything that you thought you wanted to play so much again, and it's sitting in a box on your shelf for the next you know, few months or whatever. So with the Legacy Collection coming out now, part of the appeal over the last 2 years for myself, for this channel,
I want to add something here, because like I have been playing, like, so I've been part of playing emulation type gaming and software probably since, I don't know, 96, 97, give or take, right? I'm 48 years old now. That's a long time, right? And I can say without a shadow of a doubt, right, having all of that, and keep in mind, like, I don't know Darryl's like play history here, whether he's had access to this stuff for a very long time, or by having the RetroPie, and then suddenly it's just like the gates of heaven open. You just get everything all at once, you know. Whereas I'm used to that. I've been used to that for a very, very long time, right? And I love that. There have been games that I have never been able to play before because I couldn't buy them when I was a kid. There have been consoles I could play on that I was never able to play on before because I couldn't buy them as a kid. Right? By the time you get old enough, this hardware and software is out of circulation, and then it's either very difficult to find or very expensive to buy. Right? But I absolutely 100%, and I have been saying, I say this to the boys on Discord, I say it to everyone, that the greatest gaming platform is PC because it is the archive of gaming. You can find anything and everything and play it, no matter how old. And it is the only platform that's real preservation here, right? And I love that. I love the options. I love, you know, that's why I set up my retro gaming channel years ago, that I've been going back to and re-recording everything. So that way, you know, it's in a better quality now. I've got a much better layout, which is very similar to what you guys see right here on Fate. And I get excited about just choosing some game that I remember or some random game and then covering it, because I like my boy Toby, right? He told my mate Dragoon, you know, one of his favorite games is Excite Bike. And I'm like, dude, I've never heard of it. What is that? And he goes, yeah, it's on the NES and or the NES. And I said, you know what? As a surprise, I'll do a review of it over on the channel, right? And I'll ball, right? Because I never played it before. Never had a NES when I was growing up. I was always a Sega guy. Sega, not Sega. For those out there that are, we Australians, we say it the proper way. Anyway, and so that was something that, like, I thoroughly enjoyed, and I loved the opportunity to be able to try this stuff out. I don't care if I don't ever go back to it again. Which is kind of, I'm just wondering if there's that sense here that, you know, oh yeah, you played it, but you may never touch it again for a long time, whatever. That's okay. It's all about experiences, building those, you know, those memories, even just for yourself.
and just in life in general. As I've enjoyed, playing on the CRT. I've enjoyed hooking my Super Nintendo back up, playing Mortal Kombat on there. I've enjoyed, playing Mortal Kombat on the Sega Genesis. I've enjoyed playing it on the Arcade 1-Up. I've enjoyed playing it on Fightcade. It's not, and while it is readily available to me, there's still that appeal of it being, kind of a retro thing, and it not everyone has it. The moves and such. Yeah, you can look them up on the internet, but you still have to kind of put in a little bit of work to find like moves and such for games. For myself, it's like I've memorized these moves from 30 years ago. I play a new Mortal Kombat, and I can't memorize anything that's going on. So, with everything being complete in this package, in Legacy Collection now, with the rewind feature for Sub-Zero Mythologies, for instance, a lot of the...
I actually think, judging from the preview build, or whatever version that the Condiment Twins had, it looks like the rewind feature was available in Trilogy. Right? Or whichever... What would they cover? No, there was... Was it Trilogy? No, MK4, I think it was. It was one of the actual fighting games. You could actually see that there was a rewind feature, right? That was in there. So, but obviously for things like Mythologies, where the air level, right, or the wind level, whichever we want to call it, was very problematic to some gamers because the timing of jumping was just like insane. Like my muscle memory knows how to do it, right? Knows the right amount of like pitch I need to press on the up forward to get the right jump at the right time as those panels swing around. But I also understand why they have a feature like rewind in there. Because some people, not everyone's good at everything, but it's gaming. Like, we're not curing disease here. It's just gaming, right? And having those options that might allow people to get past difficult things. I mean, keep in mind, this is something that nobody ever brings up, but I have before. Is that why is there no consideration for people that might possibly actually be disabled? People that may struggle actually with certain things because of some physical ailment that they have. So by having these options in there can also help them. No, I'm not saying that they can't. Like they if they wanted, they could ignore them. But there's a reason why, particularly over the years, companies like Microsoft or whatever were designing gaming joysticks and gamepads specifically for people that were struggling. They might have no fingers, on one hand, so they would make a fight pad, where they could just rest like the end of their arm on their forearm and just move to mimic the movement on screen. You have gaming introducing things where there might be certain auditory, like audio things that you turn on or off because of sensory overload, or if they're a blind player, maybe they can increase these things for them, so that way they have audio cues, when they're playing the game because they can't see, right? And this also comes, as far as I'm concerned, you include access to making things a bit easier. It might be a little bit easier for some people, especially for those that are in the fighting game community that are disabled, that may actually be very welcoming of these types of stuff in there, to just get them through. Because at the end of the day, it's just gaming, right? Like it's not serious, right?
Appeal from Sub-Zero Mythologies back in the day was that it was so hard. There was a sense of accomplishment when you would beat it. With this whole rewind feature, which I wish that...
By the way, listen, I love Mythologies because I love the atmosphere, music, what ambient sounds, everything. But it controls like shit. It does, right? If you come back then, when we went from the 2D fighting games, thinking that we were going to get the same 2D experience in Mortal Kombat Mythologies, and we're having to turn around and do all stuff like that, I mean, it was jarring, right? And it is nowhere near as smooth and as animated as their 2D counterparts, right? And that's fine, right? Beating that game was an accomplishment because of how anally retentive it could be, right? But yeah, I mean, otherwise, yeah.
They would just they would include it after you've beaten the game on your own, perhaps. But with this rewind feature, it's every time you die, you just rewind and you move inch by inch, and that's with games like on the RetroPie as well. You know, you can save load, and it I don't know, it kills the game itself, because like a game like Ninja Gaiden, which was impossible back in the day, you can beat it now in a couple hours because of, you know, save and rewind kind of thing. So with
Well, so to lay some education down, PC gaming, right? For the longest time before they started introducing checkpoints, right? A lot of PC games that we used to play back in the day, you could save anywhere because it was PC, right? We didn't rely on passcodes. We didn't rely on a checkpoint. We literally had the option to press escape, save load, save. It snapshots the exact moment that you're in, and off you go. Why do you think emulators have been doing that for 20, 30 years, right? It was probably because of PC gaming, right? And having that option to do it. Now, again, this is a choice. You don't have to choose it. You don't have to use it or rely on it. But what I worry about is the mentality of like, well, did you finish it in one run? Right? Did you do it the proper way? I don't want that. I don't want that in any community. I don't care if you play on easy, right? I don't care if you play on hard. I think that if people get respect because they beat a video game on a difficulty arbitrarily designed by somebody else, right? Because there is no universal standard for difficulty, yeah? Every game has its own idea of what should be difficult within the parameters of the game. So this game might be difficult for you to beat, for somebody else it's easy. And the game that they play might be difficult for them to beat, but for you it might be easy. You know, see what I'm saying? So having things like save states and load states is, again, good for people that struggle with stuff, you know, that they've had difficulty getting past a point. But also, a lot of people don't mention that sometimes it's just shitty game design, right? If you go back and you play the Sega Master System version of Shinobi, right? They changed things from the arcade. They gave you a health bar. You couldn't access some of the more powerful weapons until like the second stage and stuff like that, right? But as soon as you die, you lose all that, and then you have to rebuild up your power ups to get them back. There's a particular level, right? I think it's I'm pretty sure it's the one where I think it's either after Mandara or before. I'm pretty sure it's after Mandara, right? Although that in itself is an absolute bastard boss fight, right? There's a particular level where the jump from the pillar to the up, like, so you got the lower pillar here and the upper pillar here, right? The jump from there to there actually has a pretty high fail rate. You literally have to walk your character, literally. So he's standing basically with his back toes on the pillar, and the rest of him is just hanging out over the top of the empty chasm that you can fall, and hope to God that you press up forward and jump at the same time that you're able to get onto that top pillar here, right? I got so good at winning and failing the bonus rounds to acquire the magic that I needed to get past that shitty little moment, which was the float magic, right? So I knew that every bonus stage, if I won the first one and then I lost the second one, that means that the next one coming up would then give me this particular power up. I could then time it in my game playthrough so that by the time I got to that pillar jump, I would have already acquired the float magic, and then I could just float over it. But that's not because the game is, you know, this incredibly difficult game. It's because it was shitty level design. which doesn't exist in the arcade version, right? And they didn't patch games back then, so therefore you just had to suck that shit up, right? So while some of these games are very good and they're a lot of fun, we also acknowledge that, yeah, there are some issues, right? But we had to work around it, yeah? But doesn't mean to say that because we did it, that they have to do it. Or you just got to tough it out. I don't think that matters anymore, especially for old shit, you know? Like, I'll play the way I play, someone else will play the way they play, and that's the end of it.
With Mortal Kombat, now that all the secrets are out and everything, and you know what? Yeah, Darryl, it's been 30 something years. I mean, the secrets are out anyways. People know that. There's still an element of surprise, an element of appeal when, you know, you're playing a game and you unlock, you know, a fight against Smoke, or you pull off a fatality that you haven't pulled off before. And now I feel like it's all thrown in your face. And you know what? Like I said, I'm still super excited about this, but I feel like this is the last chapter for the old school games now. What is left after this? See, right now we're, 30-something years. The games have been out for over 30 years. And, you know, I still associate a lot of the time I'm playing with it being 30 years ago. I think ultimately the appeal is going to start dying down. I think over the next few years, that's it. Nobody's going to want to play these old school games anymore because they're all right there in one package. You know, there's still something appealing about pulling off a finishing move for the first time. Whereas now it's just like, okay, I'm going to pause. Oh, I didn't get it. I'm going to rewind and do it. I'm going to rewind and do it. There's no more of that in this. I know myself. I'm going to be owning it probably on Steam and I'm going to own it on the Xbox. I've already pre-ordered mine. And, you know, it'll be fun for me to play it on there, but I'm still going to want to play my arcade 1-up cab. I'm still going to want to play it on the CRT and such. And, you know what, realistically, it'll probably just be me by myself. I'll be 50 years old, 60 years old, still playing on a CRT. And I think, you know, this collection it's great, but I also think it's the end of that fantastic mystery and era and those years. And
so, like, I kind of see what he's saying, but I can understand what he's saying, but I completely fucking disagree. Because I've been holding the torch for Mortal Kombat forever. Total MK has been holding the torch for Mortal Kombat forever, right? The only way it ends is when you let it end, right? Now, like, as you guys have known, and I've talked about this publicly, what killed a lot of the hype for me was some of the behaviors of certain people in the community around Gamescom, right? People that I thought I didn't expect it from, right? And this was from a community that I thought was all tight and stuff, but I realized a bunch of them are just a bunch of fucking divas who really don't give a shit about anyone except themselves and how they are portrayed. So I checked out. Right? I let it happen. Because if you go back and you watch my reaction to the trailer that was played in the Sony showcase, and then you hear me saying, I checked out, it's not because of the game design. It's not because what's included. It was because of the community, right? So here's my advice is that people, if you only let it go, it only lets go if you let it go. And slowly but surely, after talking with the boys, and as things get a bit closer, that excitement has been coming back, right? But I have multiple platforms I can play all of these, sorry, not platforms, but multiple ways I can play any and all of these games. I'll probably still load up the main versions. For those that don't know, I made my own MK collection, right? That's available on the Discord, right? With every MK game. Not to play online if you don't want to. But I, as a personal goal, I wanted to see if I could do it, right? I thought, fuck it. I want to see if I can do it. If I can make my own, and I did, right? I love it. I don't play it every day, but I still love it, right? At least not lately, because there's in the last week or so, because there's been a few other games I've been very balls deep in. But, you know, like the MK community survives because you look at the Mugen community. The Mugen community has been pumping out MK games for 20 odd years, give or take, right? Because there's a passion there for classic MK. I don't require Ed Boon anymore. I don't require NetherRealm. I never did. Not for a long time, right? I have them at my fingertips in a variety of different ways I can play. And you don't need to just play them in the collection online if you don't want to, if you don't buy it or whatever. I was playing games a couple of days ago online using Parsec, loading up and connecting, and people were playing against me in a couple of different games, including MK9 actually. Right, I was playing Ringy from Ireland, and I'm in Australia on MK9 PC version, right? And this is where, like, I think sometimes, like, and this is what I have learned in the last few months, is that I'm putting on horse blinders and I'm focusing on my love of MK and my community, right? Because I love MK and I'm not letting that shit go. Now, as far as secrets and stuff like that being discovered, well, Floyd was the first time since Chameleon, yeah, that we actually got, and I don't include Tribal because he was just a hybrid, but Chameleon was the first time, since Chameleon, I think it was the first time that we got a truly super secret Mortal Kombat, like, hidden character, hidden ninja, that really just, the entire community just pulled together to figure out all the secrets. What do we have to do here? How do we get the Floyd guitar sound and blah, blah, blah? How do we get to fight Floyd, right? Everyone pulled together, even in that shitty game. All of us did, right? So this is just a collection. Like, this is just, like, these, everyone knows these secrets. Like, nobody, like, to me, and I've said this many times, the what I would like as a secret in this game collection is not secret fires. I want some hidden game that they put in there that they haven't told anyone about, and somehow we find out about it through some fucking way. I don't know, right? We get all the achievements, and then suddenly you load the game up, and it's like, boom, you've unlocked MK Gold or MK1 PS4 version, MK4 PS1 version, or something crazy like that. I love that'd be awesome. To me, for a collection, that's its own secret, right? We don't need the in-game secrets. We need, like, hidden games that might be buried in there that we could unlock. That's kind of exciting if that was a thing.
And I don't think playing it on the Xbox Series X or whatever is going to bring back that nostalgia. I think it's all going to be great. And again, this is my opinion. And this is my opinion. Okay, yeah, because you look on Marketplace or eBay right now. With the game coming out next week, you type in Mortal Kombat, there's way more people selling off their Super Nintendo games and such now. And if you're a collector, jump on eBay or whatever right now, or Marketplace, because it's easy to find any copy. Super Nintendo Genesis, the plug and plays, Sega Saturn, they're all there. Trust me, people are selling them. The arcade one-ups, I see people selling them all over the place now. And, just a month or so ago, I didn't see any of that. So it's obvious that people are getting rid of their old school stuff to play this new one. But I think with what it is, I think a lot of people will be playing it for a little bit. But, after a year or so, it's just going to be all this, it'll be the same group of people playing right now, like on Fightcade, for instance, and, on the arcade one-up cabs, whatever. And I think it's going to slowly start losing its...
Well, Fightcade is online only unless you're sitting there doing a test run of the game, right? So I didn't give a shit about fighting people online. That's neither here nor there for me, right? What people, like, you may find that these people, I've had people saying that they'll play these games offline, right? I don't require an online community for a game to be to have survivability, right? This is the trap that, like, I see with communities and fans of fan bases and shit like that when it comes to something like a fighting game, where you know, if there's no online presence, then it must be dead, right? And it's like, and like, the thing is though that like I don't give a shit whether there's an online presence or not. What matters is if you, the purchaser, are having fun with the product, right? And if you're having fun with the product, sitting in your underwear, playing Mortal Kombat 2 on the Mega Drive, right? Then, as far as I'm concerned, we're winning. Yeah. Right. And when it comes to hardware, like some people like the retro hardware and shit like that, I've been there, done that. I'm not doing that fucking shit again. I'm sorry. I'm not running shit with a CRT filter. I'm not plugging in fucking AV cables and getting some converter switch to go from, you know, the red, white, and fucking yellow cables or you know, if you upgraded to the ones where you got, was it the blue and black you could add in as well. I think it was back in the day, right? Or SCART, you guys remember SCART connectors? Right? I don't give a fuck about that shit, right? I don't give a fuck about owning an old Master System or a Mega Drive. I've done that, right? I don't have the space. I don't have the room, right? And what happens if the hardware dies? Who's going to fix it, right? Sure, you could learn it yourself. I know Total MK has taught himself quite a lot of things when it comes to, like, you know, circuitry and whatnot, but I don't give a shit because at the end of the day, and this is my stance on emulation, I can have every single gaming console at the tip of my fingers, right? I don't require the physical box. I don't require the physical cart or the CD. I can play anything at any time with any controller, right? No restrictions. That's more important to me than like going through that cumbersome thing of like, oh yeah, I'll get the, put the cartridge in, fucking blow on it and stuff. I'm not doing that shit again. I've been there and done that. It's like, look, I know I'm not saying people can't do that, but the retro scene, let's be honest, is a bit of a fucking scam because like people just up the prices of shit, and then people think, oh, this must be worth thousands of dollars because people are selling it for that. No, it's because they're taking advantage of you. They're taking advantage of the nostalgia. We are never going to relive those days because it's the nostalgia, right? That's the point of it. And now I love nostalgia. That's why I'm excited for Mortal Kombat, but and I still will forever be. But you can't relive those moments because they were specific. First time feel, first time doing a fatality, all that sort of shit. We can't do that again. We'll never be able to capture that again. But the closest that we can get is by tapping into what made us love Mortal Kombat, blocking out the noise, forgetting what the community's saying, and forgetting what the reviews are saying, right? If you're happy, focus on that. If all you want to play in a $60 collection, and that's how much we're paying here, by the way, $60 collection, 66, right? If all you want to play is Sega Mega Drive, MK2 or MK1, that's all you want to play. You just wanted to have it so that when you load it with PS5, Steam, Xbox, whatever, you go, yeah, I'm just locking in and playing that. Because I used to do that all the time when I was younger, right? And having the idea of having all of this stuff, you know, available in one package is very appealing. There are obviously missing notable ones, and I really hope that we get DLC. But I think this is the danger of, you know, oh, it's going to be dead. People are going to stop playing it. That's blackpilling shit. Who gives a fuck if you're the only one playing it? What difference does it make? This is the part where you sit there in this paused, silent moment and go, what's the answer? What's the answer to my question? Who gives a shit? Why does it matter if the community dies out, right? There's still going to be people playing on 5K for the online stuff, or Arcadesia, or however you say it, right? But this is where the trap is. Oh, but there's not many people playing online, so it must be dead. Now, yes, on Steam, you can see how many people are playing the game, whether it's online or offline. But again, who gives a fuck? Who cares? I don't, right? If it's successful, it is. If it's not, it doesn't matter. I've been advocating for this collection forever, right? As is people like Total MK and like Dragoon and stuff like that. We've been advocating for a collection like this forever, of having like not just arcade ports, but the home versions as well, right? So I'm happy that I'm getting it. And if I'm the only one standing on that hill playing it at the end, then it doesn't matter because it's your time, your money, and your enjoyment of it. That's the only thing that really truly matters with all of this.
Its appeal. Now, a lot of people are hoping that there's going to be a new breed of people wanting to play, and then this younger generation is going to be interested.
No, they
I
won't.
don't see it happening. Okay, and the reason I don't see that happening is like my son, for instance. Like he's got no interest in this.
Well, there's certain YouTubers out there offering money. I've had people in my Discord offering they're going to be like money prizes and shit like that. That's the only way you'll get young people into it, because there's something worthy of doing it for. But then when you put money on a stick, then greed becomes the focus over the experience of what you're doing, right? And I hate that. I mean, MK Tom Brady's talked about it many times about how money and whatnot has ruined, right, fighting game communities, because it becomes a central focus, or the fame of it, rather than just the simple love of the sport. Can you enjoy something or do something or win something without needing people to pat you on the back and give you accolades or money? Can you do that with that whole host of people watching to make you feel good about it? Can you do that?
A lot of younger people don't care at all about these old school games because they are old school games. My stepson was playing with me for a while there on the arcade one-up cabs. I thought he was really taking an interest in it, but after about a week or so, he's back on Fortnite. They're back on Call of Duty, Battlefield, all these games, all these new gen games. The old school just doesn't seem to appeal to them. I don't think that this is gonna break out. People wanting to be competitive and such. Listen, I know that people will end up wanting to be competitive and whatnot. Like it will probably spark a few, tournaments and such, but I don't think it's going to. I feel like this is the end of old school Mortal Kombat. I'm sorry if I sound like like a buzzkill right now, but this is just my opinion. It's how I feel about it. And I felt like it's just something that's got to be said about this Legacy Collection. And if my feelings and thoughts of this are wrong, and I probably forgot about a lot of things that I wanted to say in regards to this release that's coming out. I think
I get, yeah, it's not it's not the end. Like, again, if you're excited and you're happy about playing MK, whether it's Legacy Collection, Fightcade, in a fucking emulator or in the hardware itself on your TV, how is it the end? If the Legacy Collection wasn't coming out, would you feel the same? Right? I don't care if listen, at the end of the day, like, if people get into it, great. If they don't, great. Like, because again, it's your time, it's your money, your experience. So I don't give a shit, right, what anyone else decides with their own decisions that they make, right? But I think that, like, this is, again, okay, all right, how about this, right? I love Mortal Kombat whether I was making YouTube videos or not, right? If people couldn't use Mortal Kombat as a vessel, and I'm not talking Darryl here because I know he's different. I know he loves MK regardless. But like, if your love of something is decided on whether or not there's a community behind it, or it's or think that, well, it's not as successful, there's no one playing online, it's just the same people again, but instead of fighting on Fight K, we're over here instead, right? Then it doesn't really matter, right? Because I will always love classic MK. Now, I know Total MK isn't a fan of Mugen Mortal Kombat games because essentially they're not the true they're not the true vision of coming from the team. They're just essentially hack jobs, right? But I love them, right? Like I love them because you know a lot of the projects you get to see the passion of what they thought, say, their version of MK2 would be, or with the Thunder edition of Trilogy, right? Which is, as far as I'm concerned, the most imperfect version of Trilogy you could ever hope for, right? And I can play that. You can play that. There's nothing stopping us. In fact, I could load it up, right, and run Parsec, and people could sign up for Parsec, which is free, join, and fight me in Thunder Edition for Mugen. No restrictions. Right? No restrictions at all. My, like, there is just, like, I don't see this as a death knell, because if they never announce this, then, like, my love of MK would still be going, right? Yeah, issues I have with people in the communities and MK communities, for sure, right? But that's got nothing to do with, like, MK. Shouldn't have let it got to me, but it did, because I thought some people were different. But that's all gone now. Because as far as I'm concerned, and every creator out there should do this, it's just focus on yourself. Focus on yourself, your communities, and forget the noise. Even the noise coming from the developers and the people that made it. Just like it for what it is. I mean, the collection, if people don't realize this, it's just a front end. You know that, right? It's just a front end for emulated games. I made my own with MK Anthology. I made my own, right? Using all of it, and I put it all together in a single package that people can load up and play. Every MK game, every one, right? It's not hard, and that's exactly what Legacy Collection is. It's just a front end with interviews, right? And extra details like, flyers and music and shit, right? But it's essentially the same. It's just a front. They've created a front end, and they've taken certain games in the MK series, attached an emulator to those games, so that when you click on the game, it launches the emulator required for that game. That's all it is, right? It is nothing different to what isn't already available out there for like 20 fucking years, right? It's just that this is in an official capacity, right? But if it fails, because obviously the reviews will start rolling in this week, right? So if it fails, I don't give a shit. I got games that a lot of people don't like. I still like them. I like them. That's all that matters. If you like it, that's all that matters.
I think it's great that everybody can jump in and try these old, old versions of Mortal Kombat and such. But I think old versions like the Super Nintendo, again, the Genesis, Game Boy Advance, I think a lot of these versions are going to start to lose their appeal, because right now they're still hidden gems. And even though, yes, you can play them on emulators on your computer and such, not everybody does that. There's a lot of people who don't do that. And like I said, for myself,
there's a lot of people that don't do that, but pretty much everyone has a computer. And on the Discord, right? This is my fault, right? Some of the boys that never even knew or heard of any of this sort of stuff have gotten into emulation, right? Like Dragoon, who's my head mod. When I showed him what was capable on PC, what you could have access to, just talking MK wise, just Mortal Kombat, right? He went and sold his console. He's get the fuck out of my house, right? And went himself and bought himself a high-end PC, and he never looked back. Right? Now, you don't need a high-end PC, but he didn't have a PC at all. He just decided to get one. But most people in general have a PC, laptop, phone, fucking tablet, right? And people have been playing these games on handheld devices for a very long time too, right? And it's just it just comes down to some people don't have the confidence to know how to do it, and it's not hard. That's why I have sections on the Discord to help people, right? There's a Mugen section for people to find Mugen games I'm now re-reviewing, right? So we got the proper updated links. Emulation, people can get help with that sort of thing. The anthology's on there. There's a whole bunch of ways to help people get through that anxious period of going, oh, but I don't know what to do. It's like, it's okay. I'll help you. We'll get you through this, right? And then that way they can experience this for themselves and realize that it's not as scary as it is. Instead of thinking that, oh, I'm only locked into this pathway or that pathway. Nah. PC opens up.
A lot of the appeal, excuse me, a lot of the appeal is still playing on like CRTs and original hardware and such. It's great that it's so readily available, that it's going to be like so easy to access, that you can play online and such. But I have a feeling too, because the true hardcore fans are so good at this game anyways, that a lot of the time people are going to jump on, newcomers to the game are going to jump on, get beaten a ton of times, and say, yeah, I don't care, I'll go back to playing something else, I don't need to play this. And I think it'll be cool that a lot of people that used to play it will be jumping into games again and such. But I feel like there's a lot of pros out there who are just going to dominate the scene, and
every obviously every game that has an online aspect, it will always get that sort of domination. And I know the people in the scene that are going to be like that. They're going to fucking sit there and they're going to be the sweatiest ballsack on the planet because they've tied themselves to, well, I've got to be the greatest out of like a 30-year-old game. I'm sorry. Like, listen, I don't care if I win or lose. And I think that's the attitude most people should have, right? I've known people that, like, for example, like they play shooters, right? And some people, like myself, I don't give a fuck if I die all the time. I love the idea. I just love the idea that I'm getting online and I'm seeing like 60 other people, right, on a map. That's the coolest shit because we couldn't do that back in the 90s. Right? The closest that we got to multiplayer was probably maybe like LAN parties, right, where you hook everything up via like network cables, playing like 4-player Doom or Quake or some shit, right? That's the closest we could get. And then when it came online, right, we didn't have no team deathmatch. It was all free for all, maybe 4, 5, 6 in a team, give or take, in a map. Like, so I still get a little kick out of just the idea that we can get online and play people, because I came from an era that we didn't have it, and then I straddled that era, and I kind of still get a kick out of it. I really do. I don't know why, I just do, right? But the dominating thing, like, yeah, there's going to be people out there that just think they're fucking top shit because they play a fucking fighting. I just laugh at that shit. It's like, how fucking lame is that? Who gives a fuck? Seriously, who gives a shit? Am I going to get 20 bitches in my house now? Because I fucking won Mortal Kombat 2. This is like, people like that, it's just lame. Straight up. Right? What do you think's going to happen? Like, what do they think's going to happen? Right? You're going to get some special privileges? No one gives a shit. And you shouldn't. Nobody should give a shit about that sort of stuff. Play, enjoy, win, lose, whatever. Just have some fun. Right? And going back to what he was saying with his son, he tried it for a bit, went back to play his old stuff because the stuff that his son's playing is the stuff that that is his memories. This is going to be his nostalgia. So when he gets older and he looks back, he's going to be like, oh God, remember how good Fortnite was back then. My son is exactly the same, right? He's like, yeah, he'll play like some of the more newer Mortal Kombats with me, but they've gotten progressively worse. So, over time that's backed off, right? He hasn't really sort of like go, oh, let's play Mortal Kombat Trilogy, Dad. But if he wants to, he can. But his memories, his nostalgia is going to be tied to the games that he was allowed to start playing, enjoying things like Minecraft, Terraria, of course, things like Fortnite. When he got older, he was getting into things like COD, Rainbow Six Siege, and so and then anything in between, right? And that'll be his nostalgia bubble when he gets older, and he's telling other people about it. And then when he has children, he'll be doing the same. And those fucking games are gonna look so bad, probably compared to what we have now, like, but in the future, right? These kids will be like, you played this trash, Dad? Right? And in that moment, my son will be like, well, back in my day, and then instant old man just instantly kicks in, right? So, like, I understand, it'd be kind of cool that you get people excited. I also see people on the scene that are like, man, you're never gonna play this shit. You're never gonna play this shit, right? Right? And they're only doing it for clicks and views, 100%, right? Because it's got MK on the box. Yeah, and that's fine. Get your meal ticket. People go get paid, right? But like, I don't give a fuck about whether it's people play it or not, it's successful or not. Like, well, I mean, I want it to be successful so we get more classic stuff like the 3D era and eventually MK9. But if it bombs out, that's not my responsibility. But I still own it. I still play it. I still play it with my friends, right? And that's all that matters. And if it didn't come out, if the Legacy Collection wasn't there, then I can still play the other stuff with my friends.
That's cool. It is what it is. But it might ultimately turn people off. I hope it doesn't. My YouTube feed, the algorithm is just flooded with videos right now. People and their opinions and such. People starting drama over stupid things like glitch jabs and using keyboard stuff. Like, who cares? Those are all, that's all part of the game. If you feel like a glitch jab is cheating or whatever, people have been doing this for 30 years. It's part of the game. Either you find a way to beat it, or if you're playing somebody who's doing it and you don't like it, then you don't play them. Like, you back out after one game and you go to play and you find people who aren't doing that kind of thing. Not everybody's gonna.
Well, so me and Dragoon have talked about this because Dragoon used to compete, and he's an absolute fucking nightmare. When he cranks it up to 100, right, it's all over, right? And he was playing online. He was part of the people, like even back on X-Band, that like the glitch jab thing was the thing back then when he was fighting, right? And we see this coming up a lot. My position is this: is that just like any online game, people will min max the most sort of economical or the path of least resistance, meaning that if they master glitch jabbing or something that is going to absolutely just like be a nightmare for most people to fight against, then they'll do it. Or if you're in COD, they'll choose a certain gun combination or whatever, and whatnot, because that's going to be the thing that's going to be more powerful and the most dominating thing at the time. It's the nature of the beast, right? Dragoon's perfect response was that if you start seeing people do shit like that, press start, go quit, and leave, right? I mean, there are glitches in the game, like Sonya's leg grab infinite, right? So, like, there are going to be shitty players that are going to partake in shitty mechanics or true glitches, like the Sonya leg grab from MK1, right? And you just leave, right? But the problem is, though, is that in the modern day of fighting games, whether it's classic or not, people have forgotten the art of just getting online, if that's what they want to do, and just having some fun, right? And, like, again, like, there are people on Fightcade, like Brazilians and stuff, they will just wipe the floor with you, right? There's almost no point even fighting them, because they are just so highly skilled at the game because they eat, breathe, live, shit this game, like these old classic MK games. So, like, you're going to have no chance whatsoever against these people. And it's good and bad in a way. It's impressive what they can do, but I'm a professional casual. I don't give a fuck whether or not like if somebody's gonna sit there and just go run jab, right? It's like, man, you're a clown, right? Is this all you can do? Right? You're just gonna snowball me, right? Is there nothing else that you can do? And this is what would happen in the modern MK games. And I said this for the longest time with Mortal Kombat 1 that came out, a couple of years ago, is that people will find the most broken characters or what the meta is at the time. Then they will mimic that meta's combo strings and they will do that, over and over and over and over and over again when they get online. The problem is that, and this is what I've said before, is that once you take away their ability to do that, you take away their ability to lay those combos on you, then they don't have any other tools in their kit because they never learnt the fundamentals of fighting games. Most fighting games, there's skill involved, learning techniques and stuff, but it's all up here. It's all psychological. It's like messing with people, right? And while these things may exist in the game, there are some, there is some shitty things like the glitch jab stuff. I know techniques to get around it, right? And I got taught it from Dragoon. And Dragoon, I think, is probably going to come out and help people combat it. So that way people at least can, check these people that are doing it. And then that way, people then have to start thinking outside of the box of what can I do? Well, I'll just run in glitch jab and then just, combat on death because chip damage, bum, 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 right? But if you can get around it and they got no other tools in their kit, then you smoke them. You got them, right? But this is the problem, right? We see the complaints, but this isn't because it's, this isn't just a Mortal Kombat thing. This is fighting game thing, right? This is path of least resistance thing. And that's why people call it out, right? Because we don't want that thing to come over. It will come over because people can't help themselves, right? But, at the end of the day, you just quit, just leave. Just leave it. If they want to fight like that, you just leave, walk away. It's a fucking video game. Who gives a shit? I get rage quit. Who gives a fuck? Don't like it? Give me the $60 I pay for the fucking game, right? You're going to bitch about what I do with my product. So.
Going to play the way you want them to play. There's going to be people playing on keyboards and joysticks and arcade sticks and such. And that's just, listen, we're in 2025. That's just the way it is right now. So, that was another thing. I see all these videos, and a lot of people just, just saying things because this is Mortal Kombat's in the algorithm right now, right? Like, because the game's coming out next week, a lot of people are, just trying to start drama and such on, aspects of the game, just because people are talking about it. And that's part of it. That's part of when, a new game comes out and such, and I get it. A lot of negativity, though, surrounding, like, this game that's been out for 30-something years. Like, just play the game and enjoy it at face value, If you win, you win. If you lose, you lose. If you're having a good time, that's all that matters, right?
Darryl, take what you just said. If you win, you win. You lose, you lose. As long as you're having a good time, I want you to take that. I want you to scroll all the way back through your video where you're blackpilling yourself, thinking that, well, if it doesn't work out, everything, it's all over. You've got to, like, as bad as this sounds, everyone has to, out there, you've literally got to be selfish, right? If you are having fun with the product that you paid for, that is it. That's all it is. You could be 1 versus 1,000 people saying this is shit, don't like it, this is garbage. Who cares? Who cares? Just enjoy it. And that's it. And what you just said is exactly the mentality that everyone should have with any game that they're playing. Because, like, video games, people forget, is for entertainment. You're either entertained or you're not. If you're not, fucking leave the game. Like, nobody's forcing you to play this shit, right? And you don't have to sit there and smash yourself over the head because you paid for it either. Just walk away. Come back in a few days, a week, a month, years. Who cares? Right? if you're not entertained, right, as Maximus Decimus Meridius would say, then don't play it. Right? Just go play something else, and when the passion arises or whatever, come back.
So, anyways, I feel like I've talked your ears off. This is my opinion on the new Legacy Collection coming out this Thursday. I'll be playing the hell out of it. I'll be playing a lot of the single player stuff. But again, like I said, rewind, save, rewind, load, save, whatever. I think that's an element that I think they should get rid of, to be honest, because you're not experiencing the games like they were back in the past.
So, listen, young man, right? I get it, right? But gatekeeping to that is you can't do that, right? You like, there is way too many games, too much choice. If you gatekeep and force people to play a certain way, they will leave. Most people that don't know how to essentially cheese the AI will fucking leave. They'll just stop playing, right? Like, that's like, you know, and what a person does with their game does not affect me. If somebody wants to sit there and rewind and all this sort of stuff, are we going to start having inquisitions from people going, yeah, but how many times did you rewind? How many times did you do it? Right? Like, again, emulators have had load saves and save states for decades, right? It doesn't ruin the game, right? It just means that for people that struggled or will struggle, they can get through this hard bit. Maybe they just need that extra help, right? And again, going all the way back to Shinobi Sega Master System, the Mandara fight, which is the third boss fight after the Black Turtle and Ken O. That fight is a cunt. It is a fucking cunt, right? It is like one of the hardest boss fights I've ever fought, because you have got to be, I mean, like above Shinobi level on nailing like the attack, like your shuriken attacks. And if you've got any sort of magic ability, you pop that off outside of the float, you know, to try and knock down all those Mandara, like, you know, bodies, because it comes in these columns, and you got to take out like 4 or 5 columns, right? And it is a nightmare, right? But if you save state before the boss fight starts, then you don't have to go through all of, you know, the Keno levels, the Black Turtle levels, you know, and then all the way through the Mandara levels, and finally do it all again. People don't like this, but people don't have the patience anymore, especially when you got that sort of ease there. It doesn't mean to say that somehow their experience of the game will be less than yours. Your experience of the game is your experience. I remember beating this shit, and I can sit to people going, well, we fucking beat it back in 1 credit back in the day. But I don't care whether or not, I don't sit there and go, oh, you beat this old game, cool. How many times did you load the state? Oh, you did it 10 times? Oh, okay, you're not a real gamer. Right? I did it. I beat it better than you did. That's just ridiculous, right? And having all the stuff accessible, low states, save states, all of that sort of stuff. Well, did people have this energy with the dullard code in MK1? Did people have this energy with the cheat code on the Mega Drive or the SNES versions of MK2 or whatever, where you could access certain menus and have, like, you know, choose any stage or make yourself, say, invincible or one-hit kills or anything like that? But that stuff is in the game for like 30 years, right? But because they're so old, like, I spoke to Steven about this, right? Oh, well, I'd have to go back and double check, but I'm pretty sure it came up because he's been talking about this stuff, you know, forever, about the No More Secret stuff, because some of these secrets are very difficult to access, right? And I really hope that start seeing people in the community start pumping out content going, well, I found Reptile with no cheats. How fucking arrogant could people be to think that somehow you accessing a secret fight from over 30 years ago warrants this level of fucking narcissism where you sit there and go, well, aren't I fucking cool? Nobody gives a shit. People just want to fight Reptile. Or people might want to fight Smoke or Jade or Noob in MK2 or Noob in MK3. Nobody gives a fuck about whether people skip the line. These are old games. And you know what? They can do that shit right now on MAME. I've got a fucking cheat menu that would make anyone blush for the MK games on MAME. I can access the EGAB menus. I can access anything, right? Because they have completely just torn the game apart and made it so you can do all this crazy shit like bubbling blood or whatever on the fucking ground, or make it, or the blood stays, you know, extra blood coming out, all this really crazy shit, right? But nobody cares because every single person has to approach this game in the way that they want to. And if they want to sit there and rewind shit, if they want to sit there with certain cheats on, you know, or whatever, fine. I don't play these MK games religiously every single day. So over time, as you do, you forget certain fatalities or whatever. Remembering them is not a fucking medal on the chest, right? I'll be sticking one button fatalities on. I don't give a fuck, right? I don't care. I've done them before, right? I got nothing to prove. It doesn't matter to me, right? Because these are old games, right? And if you don't you don't have to put it on because you'll have access to the menu, right? So you'll be able to see everything regardless. So it doesn't I just hope not Darryl, but I just hope other people in the space don't start fucking flexing their dick muscle. You know, like somehow they're gonna get like 20 bitches roll up and go, oh my god, did you fight Reptile? Oh my god, you're a hero. Can I have your babies? Fuck out of here, man. Like, they're not gonna do that, right? And there are people that take this shit way too seriously. I love MK, but come on, like, you know, I will, you know, some people just need to chill the fuck out, right? You know, it's just a video game. It's just a video game at the end of the day.
Past, and the fact that now it's just you push start, all the moves are there for you and everything. That's great, but it also, you know, it kind of gets rid of the mystery. And listen, yeah, the games have been out for 30-something years. There's no mystery. It's readily available on the internet. I get it.
There is no mystery because, like, again, when this stuff was coming out, we didn't have the internet. The closest that we got to discovering stuff was in a magazine, right? And we had to wait for the magazine to come out, and nobody knew shit was coming out. It's not like we knew, the next episode, the next magazine coming out from EGM, right? Or Sega Power or fucking Hyper magazine, or God knows whatever else, Game Pro. Oh yeah, we'll know. Yeah, we know what's coming. Unless they advertise it in the back. But pretty much we had no idea, right? Until we went in, when we knew the new magazine was going to come out and we saw the cover. So secret finding really was secret finding, but a lot of it was by chance. You know, a lot of it we didn't know, or some people just, you know, they deciphered the coding from Reptile or whatnot to figure out certain aspects. Oh, okay, all right. Well, it's mentioned the pit, right? Look to the Luna. Okay, well, all right, the pit, the moon, and shadow. You know, like when we will never get that again in these games because we've already done it. Maybe in a new MK game, but like I said, a secret for the MK Legacy Collection is not about the discovery of secrets in the games themselves. To me, it would be them putting a game in there that nobody knows they put in there. And that itself is a secret. Imagine you do all the achievements and then you get a big win screen that says, "Congratulations, you've unlocked Mortal Kombat Gold." I mean, the achievements are fucking, they're piss easy. Piss easy, right? Right? You could go to sleep and do them. And I thought about it. I thought, well, maybe that's the reason why they're so easy, right? Because if people do them, imagine they actually unlock a hidden game that they've put in there that we had no idea about. Now you guys know, like the Thinny, Interloco, right? These guys are going to be data mining this shit, right, to find if there is anything in there. Yeah, but that would be a secret. That would be the modern. Sorry, that would be the MK Legacy Collection version of the secret discovery, right, in there. Or maybe they put some sound files, right, where, you know, certain things that were only in MK Gold start playing, right, just randomly. You go, what the hell was that, right? You go, hang on, that's from MK Gold. Why they got MK Gold in here? That's an MK Gold sound. And then it starts the process, right? Just like with Floyd, it starts the process of breaking down time zone. Like, hang on, at this particular hour subset, we can do these things, and then we got this one and that one, and blah 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 blah. That's what made Floyd exciting. The whole community figured it out, right?
Understand what I'm saying though, then you understand. And you know, another thing here, the Mortal Kombat Flawless Victory. Pick up this book; it's fantastic. It's a trip down memory lane again. Covers everything from Mortal Kombat to the Mortal Kombat 1, the new one.
I just recently did a video on this, and this entire, like, this book has been literally just torn apart because of their woeful AI upscaling, like, or AI usage, you know, missing content, all sorts of shit. So yeah, it's a thick book though. It looks pretty thick, but yeah, there are people literally out there like getting refunds. That's how bad it. That's how poor it is, right?
Comes out. It's a fantastic book. Pick it up if you get a chance. But anyways, listen. Bottom line is, if it sounds like I'm not excited for this collection, trust me, I am. I feel like this is the last chapter of the old school Mortal Kombat. I feel like in a couple years, maybe within a year or so, it's gonna die down. And you know, people won't see these old games like they do right now because it's a 2025 release. It's all in one. It's all in your face, and you know, all the interviews, like everything's there. It's a great farewell for the old school series, but I do feel like it's a farewell almost. So, anyways, listen, that's my opinion. Whether you agree or not, or whether you think I'm a moron because of it, that's fine. I get it. I understand. If you think that I sound, you know, sad or upset about it, it's a bittersweet kind of feeling. I feel like, yeah, I feel like this collection is kind of a farewell to, you know, maybe it's just middle age. I'm 46 years old. You know, you see Ed Boon and John Tobias in the interviews and stuff. They got gray hair. They're old. Like, maybe it's just you know, me having a bit of a sad moment in life. Who knows? But
We all, listen, man. We all hit the midlife crisis, Wall. Every single one of us, right? I guess, like, you keep saying farewell, and it's like I don't see it as a farewell, because if the Legacy Collection wasn't coming out, then I'd still be rocking and like excited for classic Mortal Kombat. Like I said, me and Total MK and others have been advocating, like actually advocating for a collection like this forever, right? Not because it'll bring in new players, just because we wanted something in an official capacity. I don't see it as a farewell. I just see it as just a love letter. You know, Stephen Frost from Digital Eclipse, he's a massive MK fan. This was a dream come true to be able to do this. So, like, I don't see it as a farewell. I just see it as just like a love letter. For the same reason that when they did their, you know, Atari collection or the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles collection, you know, it's not a farewell. It's just a collection. So, like us old fellows and girls out there that have been very excited about this, have just this official capacity of a majority of these really good MK games, especially the home versions. I mean, that's the thing. Like this is the first time, you know, that we're getting home versions of Mortal Kombat. Like, I mean, I haven't seen a lot of people talk about that. Like, they're excited for that. Like, I mean, I'm going to be playing tons of MK2, MK1 Mega Drive. I can't wait. Right. And look, again, like I said, like I can play them now. I'm not restricted, but you know, to have it in an official capacity, get online without any sort of extra legwork on my end, like loading up Parsec or Fightcade, you know, I can just jump on and play against these people, you know, if that's what we do. But I don't see it as a farewell. It's just a release. You know, it's a very welcome one, and I really hope that we get more DLC because there are some missing ones like Ultimate MK3 for Mega Drive, Mega CD version of the like Mortal Kombat 1, MK Gold, Mortal Kombat 4 for PlayStation 1, MK3 PlayStation 1. We've got what's the other one? MK Trilogy for N64. You know, those are some of the bigger heavy hitters, and then you could sprinkle in with Master System releases, maybe some other ones that they've missed out on. You know, shit like that, right? So I really hope we get some DLC. That's why I want it to be successful because then the collection will start to really, you know, it'll pad out even more. But I don't see it as a farewell. I don't. Maybe this is your mistake, and was my mistake. Listening to other people, right? Just focus on yourself, focus on your community, right? You need to tap into what made you love Mortal Kombat. And when I made my anthology collection, right, I started tapping into that love again, right? Because it was me by myself enjoying these games without community, the noise, opinions, anything like that. Just blocking it all out and focusing on my love of what made MK great. And I think that's what you need to do, right? Because, you know, otherwise, like you'll black pill yourself out of this whole experience. And I almost was there, man. Right? I was almost there. Right? But, you know, they're just that's like saying, oh, well, you know, there's it was like I said, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Cowabunga collection. Oh, well, is that it? It's over now. No more Ninja Turtles. That's it. Of course not. Right? Whether people play them on that, people play them on emulators on their PC, right? Or on physical hardware. Of course not. The only time you let something die is when you let it die. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Go check out his video. I know this was a really long video, but I really wanted to cover it. Very cool dude. And but yeah, I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.